Hi, I'm Steve Turner, and I'm going to be teaching you how to write in Cuneiform according to the style of the Sumerians and the Akkadians, the Babylonians and the Assyrians, and multiple other cultures throughout the ancient world. We're going to be making clay tablets, just like Abraham used to make. And so to do this exercise, we first of all need to use our stylus. And if you haven't yet already seen it, then you need to watch the video where I show you how to make one of these for a very little amount of money. So the first thing you need to do is you need to know the parts of this thing. And so the first thing you need to do is find out where the writing tip is. And so how to write with it basically, or where to write with it from. So the first thing you need to know is the side here that is sharp is called the blade. And for obvious reasons, it's like a knife blade or something, but we've dulled it down a little bit so it doesn't cut anybody. Then this top part here is called the porous edge, or the porous end. And finally, you have on this side the glossed side, and you can see it's a little bit shinier. It's actually the outside of the bamboo, whereas this side right here is called the fibrous side, and that's because it's got the fibers from the inside. And then finally, this is called the spine, or the spinal side. And then the edge between the spinal side and the glossy side is called the spine, just like a book spine or your back spine. At the very tip of the spine is the writing edge. Now to find out where that is, what you need to do is you need to take it and you want to hold it so that the blade is facing to your right. Alright, so if you're holding it up like this, the blade is going to be facing this way, to your right, not on the camera here, but to your right. And then the spinal side is going to be facing to your left. The glossy side is going to be facing away from you towards the camera here. Alright, and the fibrous side is going to be facing you. So blade to the right, glossy side out. Alright, and you're going to hold it in your right hand. I know there's a lot of left-handed people out there. I'm left-handed myself, but the thing is, you can't write in cuneiform and left-handed, and that's okay. You're going to find it's not hard to do even right-handed, even if you are left-handed. No big deal. You can still do it. Alright, so you're going to hold it in your right hand, blade to the right, glossy side out. And then that means that this edge right here, on the glossy side, that's what you're going to write with. So you want to choke up a little bit so that your thumb is right behind the glossy side, and that's what we're going to write with. Alright, so for this activity, you're going to need, first of all, some modeling clay. And this is the type of modeling clay that I use. This is white, I think. White clay. You can use any color. It really doesn't make any difference. I like the white. I really like the gray best of all just because it's not as messy as the brown is. The brown is really messy. I don't know, it stains your hands or something. The stain doesn't last long though. And then the big thing though is that the brown clay is a little bit tougher it's not as malleable as the gray and the white clay. So either one of those two is the best. You see it comes in a bag. Like this, and clay is going to cost you anywhere from $8 to $20. This thing right here is like 20 some bucks at Joann's craft store. You can get them at a craft store or anywhere you want to, pretty much. I'm not even sure, but Walmart might even sell them at this point. Who knows? So, another thing that you're going to need is you're going to need your stylus, like we've already seen. You want to use a bowl of water or a glass of water. Then the next thing you're going to do is use some paper towels, because you're going to need to wipe your hands off from time to time. This is clay, you're going to get muddy. And then also there's a sheet that is available on my website that has the Ugaritic alphabet. Okay, so you're just going to knead your clay like dough. And just what you're doing there is you're getting rid of any kind of air pockets that are inside. Now as you're doing this, you're going to see that it's going to start to dry out. You get these nice little cracks there. If that starts to happen, then you just take your fingers, take 2 or 3 fingers, and just dip the tip of them into the water, just very shallowly. You don't want a whole lot of water on there. You don't want these to get too slimy. And then you just start kneading it again. Again, you don't want it to get too wet. You don't want it to become slimy or anything like that because it doesn't write very well. Now, if you do get it too wet, then just keep on kneading it for a while and it will end up drying out on you again a little bit until you get to the right consistency that you want. Alright, so, man, my clay is dried out really bad. Okay, so once you're done kneading it, then you want to start to shape it. Now, clay tablets in ancient times were rectangular in shape, and they weren't perfectly flat. They weren't flat like this table is flat. They were curved around the flat ends, and so they had a bit of a curvature of them. Now, to achieve that, and what you do is you see the palm of your hand is kind of curved in that same way. So you take your dough, your clay rather, you put it in the palm of your hand, right in the middle there, right where the impression is. Take your other palm and put it in the same spot, and then you just mash it together. And you see you get a flat surface, but it's not too flat. You get that curvature. See that? And you also don't want it to be too thin. You don't want it to be paper thin or anything like that, because then it'll snap in half real easy. This kind of size, this kind of thickness will give you a good shape, and it'll give you good strength as well. And again, they were rectangular. This is kind of circular. You can do any kind of shape you want to. You can do circular, you can do triangle, you can do whatever you want. They did several different shapes. The most common type was rectangular, so we're going to do that today. So to do that, you just take your two fingers, you just kind of shape it into a rectangle. Very, very easy to do. Okay, and then you can mash it down again the way you did before, and just keep doing that until you get the shape that you want. Okay, once you have the shape that you want, and this might take some time. The shaping and the kneading is probably the most difficult part of this entire exercise for the kids. So let them take their time with it, and they may need to take some time, and that's all right. So once you get the shape that you need, though, then you see all these cracks here. You're going to want to get rid of every one of those cracks all the way around, on every side, every edge, everywhere. Because if you don't, then once it dries, it will split apart, expand, and especially if you put it in the oven or in a kiln, then it'll explode on you. In the sun, it'll just cause you problems. It'll just pop and crack and that sort of thing. You don't want that kind of thing. So to do that, you just take two fingers, you dip them into the clay, or into the water rather, just again like you did before, just the tip of your fingers, not much at all, and then you just start rubbing over top of the surface. And you use your fingers as kind of an eraser to erase all those cracks. Okay, so as you can see, I've gotten rid of all the cracks in my clay, and we are ready to start writing on it. Again, every single edge, there is no cracks. Alright, so once you're ready to start writing on it, then there's one thing that you can do. If you want to have it blank like this and you just want to write the letters on there, that's just fine. If you want to create lines that you want to keep inside of, you can take the blade of your stylus and just use it to create those lines. Just kind of, I wouldn't get them too deep. Make sure, but that will give you a nice straight edge that you can write your characters on. Now this is something that the ancients commonly did, not always, but commonly, and it helped them keep their character straight and their writing straight. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is learn how to write. So first thing, again, how to hold the stylus. We saw this before. Remember, the blade goes to your right and the glossy side is out, and you're going to write with just this tip right here. Now, there are three types of wedges that you can make with cuneiform. The first one, you're going to make just a triangle, and it looks like this. Just like that. And that's all that it is. Just a nice little triangle. To do that, you just take this edge here, the writing edge, and you're just going to press it down into the clay. And that's it. You just make a little tick. Just like that. And there you have your wedge. Simple, isn't it? Alright, the second one is going to be the same thing. You're going to make a triangle with a tail on the end. So to do that, you're going to do the same thing. It's going to look like this, actually, is what it's going to look like. Alright, see how it's a triangle with a tail on the end. It's much longer. So to do that, you're just going to take your stylus. You're going to just take your stylus, just the tip there. And just like with a triangle, you're going to push it in. Only this time, you're going to lower the back like that. Okay, so you push it in and lower. And that's all you do. So you have your tail. Now the final one is called a hook. And what it looks like is this right here. That last one right there. Alright, so to make the hook, instead of using the tip, you're going to use the glossy side. And you're going to hold your stylus, instead of holding it like this, horizontal, you're going to diagonally hold it, just like this. And you're just going to push the glossy side in at an angle so it makes that little thing. And that's it. And those are the three types of wedges that you're going to make. And with those three types of wedges, you can make just about any kind of character that you want within cuneiform. That's it. So you have your triangle, you have your tail, and you have your hook. And that's all there is to it. Alright, so the last thing that you can do is writing, and this is going to be the actual activity. Once you teach the kids how to make the wedges and the different wedge types, then you just start writing. Alright, and what you do is you give them the sheet that's on my website that has the Ugaritic alphabet, or you can also use a sheet that has different Akkadian characters. Alright, but in any case, you're going to be using this with cuneiform. And what I usually have them do is write their name or some kind of secret message in cuneiform. Now the problem with the Ugaritic alphabet is that there are no vowels. If you look at that sheet, there are no vowels in it, just like in Hebrew. In fact, Hebrew is based on Ugaritic alphabet, or vice versa. We're not really sure which one. So what you can do is, if you have any vowels, the sheet that I gave you, I added in a few vowels, A, E, and I think, and U, and I don't remember exactly how many. But if there is a vowel in there and it's not on the sheet, then just tell them to skip that vowel, or they can make a vowel up or something like that. The characters that I have that have vowels are not actually vowels. They are simply like glottal stops and things like that, which is something we don't have in English. So I substituted a vowel with them, so they can put any vowel they want to pretty much in those and still be just fine. So my name is Steve, and I'm going to write my name in there. So first character we have is S, which is that right there, S. And the next one is T, which is just a simple horizontal wedge with a tail. And then finally V, or I'm going to use the letter B here. And then finally N. Now the great thing is if you make a mistake like I just did with the N, then all you need to do is take just the edge of your finger there, just get it just a little bit wet, and you can rub it right out. You can erase it with your finger. How cool is that? Alright, and there we have Stephen, and then finally Turner, T. Oops, make that a little bit, there we go, T. I have a U there, so I'm going to use that. R. N. we go. Stephen Turner. That's pretty cool. Alright, that's all there is to it, and once you're done with your tablet, then you can take it and you can either dry it in the sun. I usually leave it out for a few hours, sometimes even a whole day, or at least till nighttime anyway. Or if you're kind of impatient like I am, you can take your oven, if your wife or husband will let you, and you can heat it up to about 500 degrees and cook it in there for about 20 minutes. And if you hear no popping sounds, then you're doing good. Then it kept together. Alright, so that's everything I have for you today. And thank you and God bless you.